Okay, so this is just going to be kind of a shorter video, but it's also just kind of going to be a bit of a me video, but also kind of touching on different things and kind of a response video to, like, just kind of the last several years that we've had in regards to COVID and the pandemic and all these other things that have been going on in the world. So way back, the first video that I put up on this channel was just kind of me explaining kind of the quote unquote motto of the channel or something along those lines. And that was me just kind of talking about, the all fandoms welcome, be it Monster, Pocket, or Digital, Guild, House, Crew, Clan, Nation, Class, Planet, Fam, or Team, or whatever. We are all Nakama here. And one of the reasons why I chose that is because of the fact that throughout all of, lots of different, not just anime, not just comics, not just, movies and TV and, manga and everything like that, there's always been this kind of concept of found family. Yes, there's of course always the concept of like your actual family, and then there's the extended things that you have, family that goes further out in regards to aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents and everything. But there's also the concept of found family that's very much shown very well in lots of different manga. And the reason that I'm doing this now is because my church, I've mentioned before that my church is a big part of my life. And we're doing this project right now because I'm recording this during Lent, and we're doing this kind of project throughout Lent where people are kind of coming up with different words or a couple of words that kind of represent things that have been going on with them during this pandemic. A lot of people are using Bible verses, which is understandable. This is a church project and everything. And one of the other things that they're doing in regards to that is they also gave everybody these different canvases. Some of them are smaller than this. Some of them, I think this is about the biggest size that they had, and I had to go with the bigger size because of what I made. But we're all given these different canvases and are encouraged to take them. They're not just like, here, take a canvas, here, take a canvas. We're encouraged to take them. And we're encouraged to pick a word or a couple of words or something along those lines that has very much kind of possibly helped us through these last few years, but also help us describe these last few years. And I am aware that like my experience for these last couple of years in regards to the pandemic and everything is not nearly as bad or as sad as like other people have had. And I'm well aware of that. Other people at my church have mentioned, I had one of the ladies at my church, like both her husband and her father died during this time frame, but just before that happened, like she had, they had their first grandson. And like I've known that family my entire life. They literally used to live next door to my aunt and uncle, or my aunt and uncle used to live literally next door to them. So I've known them for a very long time. And then like there's, other people that have dealt with like other things over the last couple of years. And of course there's, in regards to the pandemic, there's lots of people that have dealt with like health issues over the last couple of years. One of my great uncles on my dad's side of the family, one of my grandfather's brothers, he passed away during the pandemic, not from COVID, but from cancer. And I think I had another family member that passed away as well during this time frame. I had a family member on my mother's side pass away. And, but these weren't people that I was extremely close to, but I do know that like their immediate family, their children and their grandchildren, of course, were very, very, much more torn up about this than I was. I was still sad about it because it's still like a family member of mine passed and in a sad way. But they were also in a lot of pain at the time. And so the pain's kind of ended type of thing. But other people have, of course, lost a lot more during this time frame. And the way that I was kind of looking at this was in regards to the way that, the world kind of works these days. It's, there's lots of different, people are encouraged to look for the good things. We're so caught up in all of the bad things that are going on, and we're encouraged to look through the good things. And kind of the visualization that I kind of came up with this is that there's thorns all over the place, and everybody keeps getting pricked with them, and the thorns are the main thing that you're focusing on because they hurt every time that you touch them. But what you're also trying to look for are the flowers, which is why I have a bunch of flowers over here that you can't see very well, sorry. And so it's like the flowers are all of these good things that happen in life. People that come into your lives that are very helpful and very supportive of you. Animals that come into your life in regards to a lot of the times during this pandemic, people got pets. We had Rainy way before the pandemic, but it gives you someone to not be alone with the entire time. So you're not 100% on your own. Some people got dogs, some people got cats, some people got lots of other, varying animals over the course of the pandemic and everything. Other people took up new hobbies and everything like that. There was the whole thing of, making sourdough bread and banana bread and like all these other, cooking things and everything like that. I didn't necessarily go down that route, but, a lot of people did, and I have no problem with that. A lot of people discovered new interests and everything like that. Some people got back into old hobbies and interests and everything along, with that stuff in regards to, let's rediscover these books that I haven't read for a long time. Or, my dad and I, we watched all the way through all of the Marvel movies and all of the Harry Potter movies. And then we did all the Disney movies, and I reviewed all of them for the channel. And now we're doing all the Pixar movies at the moment. So there's all of that stuff. But then there's, other people did a whole bunch of other things. My thing that I started this YouTube channel. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed so far and everyone that's been watching the videos. As of the moment that I am recording this video, I have, I think, 92 subscribers, right around that range. So thank you to everyone that's subscribed. If you watch the videos, I would prefer that you subscribe. If you like them enough, that's fine. I'm not going to make you subscribe. That'd be stupid. But I am very thankful to everyone that has been watching them. I've picked up other anime that I started to watch again recently. Like I rewatched my way through Attack on Titan. And, I know that the final half of season, whatever, the final season is now, out and airing, and I just haven't gotten around to watching those yet. I was going to wait till they're all finished and then kind of go through and talk about things at some point during that time frame, because right now I'm going down the Bleach rabbit hole and working my way through that. But one of the things that I came up with for kind of the word or so that I've been that I decided to use was the word Nakama. In regards to, of course, Nakama, people that, have watched this channel know that I'm a big fan of One Piece, and of course, Nakama in Japanese is, of course, means colleague or compatriot or friend or comrade. And the way that, of course, I've kind of put it is, or the way that I describe it to my mom whenever I tell her what Nakama is, it's, friends who have become closer than family. And, of course, the best example of this when you're talking about One Piece is, of course, the Straw Hats. But there are other examples of this as well. Law's crew is a very good example of this as well, as is Kid's crew. The fact that they are very close and very tight-knit to each other and very loyal to each other. And the way that I put it in regards to the Straw Hats crew is all of the Straw Hats would do anything in regards to protect each other. Yeah, Zoro and Sanji will fight about it and fight about who got, who did better in regards to protecting whomever. I protected your back better than you protected my back or whatever. But they will still protect each other. It's not, Sanji still helped Zoro when he got hurt by Kaido. And, all this other stuff. It's not like Sanji's gonna leave, gonna leave Zoro to die or vice versa. They're still Nakama. They're still comrades to each other. They're still, family on that ship, on the Thousand Sunny. And even that extends further out in regards to, Vivi, in regards to back in, in the East Blue with Luffy's family, in regards to, Makino and Don and, all of them, that extends to Sabo now, and that had Ace as part of it. And, all these people that have, proven themselves friends of the Straw Hats. And, I've always loved that. And like other anime have done the same thing, you know, with Fairy Tail, it's, you know, your guild is kind of your family, of course. And yeah, I like Fairy Tail, big whoop. I've mentioned this before. I have a bunch of Pokemon named after Fairy Tail characters, so yeah. And, you know, and then of course you have Bleach, of course, where it's, you know, yeah, Ichigo has his, you know, his biological family of his dad and his sisters, but then he also has his friends with Chad and Orihime and Rukia and Renji and Uryu and, you know, all these other ones that are, you know, his extended friends and family and everything that he's kind of built up and everything. And, you know, those bonds that they have with each other. And then, of course, you know, you go into, other anime. What was I thinking of before that I had listed here for other anime that I was going to talk about for that? You know, there's lots of other anime that go into that same concept of, you know, there's, you know, again with the guild concept, you know, the squad, there's, you know, there's the Black Bulls when it comes to, you know, Black Clover and everything, of, you know, how close all of them are and how far they're willing to go for each other. And of course with Asta, that also applies to, you know, with Yuno and everything. And then of course in other cases there's of course, you know, Fruits Basket. I got into Fruits Basket a lot during this time frame, and I thought it was adorable. And I love how they, you know, they go through like all these different bonds between all the different, you know, the Zodiac members, but then, you know, also their bonds not just with each other but with, you know, with Toru, and, you know, Toru's bonds with, you know, her friends and everything. And I love how they describe that. And then of course there's, you know, with Dr. Stone, there's, you know, I watched Dr. Stone during this whole time frame, and, you know, the ending wrapped up pretty recently and everything with, like, you know, the time skip that they did. And now Senku's trying to build a time machine, so, you know, part of me believes he can do it. Part of me is like, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. But of course, you know, with Dr. Stone, you know, it's like Senku has, you know, kind of time traveled, and the fact that he's, you know, was stoned for, you know, 3,000 some years or whatever. And now he's, you know, he found the Ishigami village, and he's found all of his friends there with Kohaku and Chrome and Gin and, you know, all of them. And, you know, he's building up this, you know, more and more extended family with everything that he's done. And, you know, more that way. And then of course, you know, you go into other things that are, you know, that are not necessarily anime, that are, you know, you go into Harry Potter. There's of course, you know, Harry and his friends, you know, he has Ron and Hermione, but then he also has, you know, Luna and Neville and Fred and George and the rest of the Weasley family. And of course, you know, Dumbledore's army in and of itself, or, you know, this extended concept of, you know, Nakama. Even though, you know, it's like, I highly doubt that out of all of the people in Harry Potter, the ones that I would say possibly know what anime are Hermione, and I have a feeling Luna would very much like anime. I have a feeling Luna would love anime. That's just going off the fact that my niece is very similar to Luna, and my niece loves anime as well. You know, but you have that, and then you want to go down the Disney route that I do. You know, you've got, you know, with Encanto over this past, you know, year and everything with, you know, Encanto and Kanto, whichever one you would refer to it as. I'm not good at saying the name, sorry. You know, you have what Mirabelle goes through in regards to seeing how she fits in her family, and that's a very telling sign in the way that, you know, a lot of people don't always feel like they fit in their family. Everybody's had these different moments with their own family where they're just like, I don't know if I really fit in with these people anymore. It's like, yeah, they're my cousins or my aunts and uncles or even my own parents or my grandmother or my grandfather, but I don't know if I really fit in here anymore. You know, I don't fit the way that everybody else does. And then, of course, there's the whole concept of, you know, going more into, just, Mirabelle goes through everything, and she helps with getting her family back to being happy again, back to being better. You know, they're not as quite perfect as they were before, but they're much happier and they're much closer with each other. And then, of course, down that same vein, we have, other things in regards to, Lilo and Stitch is a very good way of showing off what family can look like in regards to it not always being perfect with a mom and a dad and a kid or two kids. With Lilo and Stitch, she goes from having her and Nani and her mother and father to just being her and Nani to then they have, David kind of there. And then, of course, Stitch comes in. There's the whole, this is my family. It's little and broken. I found it all, this is my family. I found it all on my own. It's little and broken, but still good, all of that and everything. And then, of course, throughout the course of, the extended movies and into the animated series, of course, when it comes to Lilo and Stitch, we see their family grow so much with all of the cousins and with Jumba and Pleakley realizing that, yes, they are a part of this family. They are as much a part of this family as Stitch and as Lilo is and everything. And, of course, there's the extended things in regards to the sequel series about, Stitch and Owie and Stitch, the series and everything, that kind of go into more of that concept of Ohana and family and everything that I do like as well. That you can leave your own family and still have that connection, but then go and find another family. And that's kind of where the found family thing comes in, of course. And of course, I've also had that other concept when it comes to other anime as well, where it comes to like Digimon, like all of the kids don't really have much connection to each other until they end up in, the digital world. And even that extends into, all of the other series as well, that there's this connection of these kids that grow up with these digital partners and, and that slowly get stronger and stronger and build these bonds up with them. And yeah, eventually you have to say goodbye, like what happens with Digimon The Last Evolution. Although now they're going to have another Digimon movie, I believe, that's going to center more on like Davis's group, which is fine by me. But, we'll see what happens with that. But, there's that whole concept there of like just this, you have to say goodbye to family sometimes. And, yeah, there's that hope that you'll see them again someday, but we don't know when that will be. And then, of course, you go down that same path when it comes to, like, Sailor Moon, all of the scouts and everything and, the inner scouts and the outer scouts and, like, all these other ones that they interact with throughout the course of the series become this connection of an extended family. And, just has, as far as that goes, I've just always loved that concept that they do with that. And, My Hero kind of has that as well when it comes to, all of the, when it comes to Class 1A and Class 1B and, the teachers and Aizawa, yeah, he, like, complains about the kids, but, like, he would do anything to protect them. And, King Vlad or Vlad King or whatever is the same way, say, as all of the teachers that are at UA. And, this extended concept of family just kind of goes from there, that you build these bonds with each other. And I've always loved that concept. And, last two I'm going to bring up here for this example before I go into finishing up what I'm doing for the art piece is, we have the Avengers, because, it's like when I'm rewatching through all of the Avengers, it's, yeah, you see... you see these different bonds that they developed with each other. Yeah, Tony and Steve don't always like each other at the beginning. Bruce has his own issues. And of course, by the end of the series, by the end of Endgame specifically, you see, yes, they lost Natasha and then they lost Tony. And you see this thing where it's just like everybody together. And I will admit, I hate the fact that it's at Tony's funeral that everybody is actually all in the same frame at the same, all in the same shot at the same time. But, it's, it's like Natasha and Tony aren't there, but you could have put them in there. Could have easily done that, type of thing. But, it's like, it's for the funeral, but it's like that shot where they're going through everybody that's there. You got Pepper and Morgan, and you got Happy, and you got Rhodey, and then you got Steve and Thor and Bruce, and, all the other, everybody else that's there. It's just like that one long shot through Tony's funeral. And it's like all these people that have been affected by Tony because of that decision he made all the way back in that cave. And, yes, there's the ones that aren't there. There's, Natasha's not there. Of course, Tony's not there. Gamora ran off. Quicksilver died. Sorry, Pietro. There's, several other ones that, of course, are not there at the time. But, we see that moment that goes through that, and it's, these lines that connect us. And I do kind of look at those as the different flowers that come through the thorns. And then, of course, the last one is, I wanted to bring up Doctor Who because, Doctor Who has always been this concept of, this strange man going around and picking up the, strange person. Sorry, Jodie Whittaker, I really love you as a doctor. This strange person going around and, like, I like this human. You're coming with me. Ooh, I like this other human. You're coming with me too. Ooh, you. I like you. You know, it's just like going through and do that. And there's other words. It's just like, nope, I'm coming with you. Other moments like that I've always loved as well. And it's just like, yeah, the doctor doesn't always want them there, but eventually it's like he would do anything to protect them. Those moments where he makes those choices, you know, to Rose, you know, I'm blowing up a sun to say goodbye to you, and, you know, all this other stuff. And I love that, and, you know, like how even like it extends into, you know, like with Amy and Rory, with, you know, with that extension of that family there. And then of course when it's Jodie Whittaker as the doctor, we have like, you know, everyone that was in the TARDIS with her were her fam and everything, and I love that. And I've always had I've always loved that concept when it came to Doctor Who. But what I did for this was I had my younger niece and nephew actually help me make 2 perler bead flowers. And they're going to go on this. And then I also have this one that I made. It's kind of a rainbow flower-ish looking thing. And when I do get the thing finished, I'll, you know, put a picture of it here at the end. I just haven't got it finished yet because I need my mom to print up some stuff for me to use for it. But I've just always looked at, you know, thorns are these horrible things we have to deal with in life. And yes, they hurt. And yes, they can leave scars on us, you know, depending on how often we get poked by them. But the fact that we keep moving past them, that we keep looking for the flowers in life, those people, those places, those things that give us joy, you know, whether that be traveling and going to other places, or just reading a book, or, you know, watching an anime or a movie or something else, or just, you know, sitting and talking with people, or doing, you know, your different hobbies. You know, I got back into, you know, bead art during this time frame, and I'm really loving it. You know, I loved making that stuff before, and now I'm just doing, you know, a whole bunch of stuff with it. And I've just, you know, you get that, you know, that concept of, you know, finding new things. It's like, yeah, I can't really leave my house that much, which didn't really affect me that, you know, too much now. But now it's kind of going from the opposite, where it's like during the pandemic, I could still go into work, but now that the pandemic is finishing up, now we all have to work from home because not enough people came back to the building. So now we have to work from home. I'm like, that doesn't seem fair. Now I'm just trapped in my room on my own, minus the dog, who comes in occasionally when I'm working. But, you know, But it's, you know, it's this whole thing of just like, you know, you look for, you know, we all deal with thorns, and we look through the thorns to find the flowers. And that was just kind of where this concept came from. We look through these thorns of these bad times, you know, whether it be horrible war like going on right now in Ukraine, and that is horrible. And I cannot imagine what those people are going through, and I hope I never have to, and I hope that what's going on with them does not last a whole lot longer. And, you know, there's all these other things that of course go on in the world. There's, you know, racial issues and gender issues and all this other stuff. And it's like, sometimes you just have to try to look, you know, it doesn't mean that stuff goes away. It doesn't mean the thorns aren't still there. It just means that you have to find the things that make the thorns worth it, that make these pricks and these scars and this pain worth it. And, you know, finding those flowers in that time frame is what you can do. Finding that Nakama in that time frame, these people that stand with you, that stand by you, that help you as much as possible, even when you don't realize you need it. That goes through all of that. And I've always found that to be a very interesting and amazing concept. So, a little bit of me rambling, you know. I'm sorry if this wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be, but for everyone that did listen through it, I do thank you. And as I said, I will add in the pictures of the final thing of how this will look when I get it all finished. So I thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you have a good rest of your day. And I hope that you remember to try to look for all of those flowers, all of those Nakama in your life, even though you have to deal with all of the thorns along the way.